I had just been accused in a hospital full of media of letting someone die. The lights were so bright, they flattened every expression on every face around me. My father said clearly she refused to save her sister without even looking at me. In that moment, almost everyone began shouting at me all at once without pause. The noise surged forward like a wave, leaving no space for silence or thought. Someone pushed a phone right up against my face, the camera uncomfortably close. So close I could see my own face reflected back at me on their screen. People kept asking if I would really refuse to save my own younger sister. Others said things like, "How does someone like this even deserve to live?" My hands were cold, but I didn't shake, not even a little bit. I looked at them like they had nothing to do with me at all, because I knew if I tried to explain, it wouldn't fit into one sentence. To understand anything, you would have to go back 3 full years. Back then, I was preparing for exams with a strict and predictable daily schedule. I woke up at 6 every morning, washed up, ate breakfast, and started studying immediately. I worked through problem sets one after another, carefully reviewing every mistake I made. At night, I would go back over everything again, reinforcing what I had already learned. My life was simple then, so simple that every day felt almost exactly the same. I even remember thinking about a math problem right before I got home that day. When I stood at the door, it was closed, so I knocked twice and waited. No one answered, so I knocked again, a little harder this time, expecting someone to respond. After a while, my mother opened the door but didn't step aside immediately. She just stood there, looking at me, then smiled in a way that felt wrong. I didn't think much about it then. I just walked inside like everything was normal. I changed my shoes, set my bag down, and joined them for dinner that evening. Everything looked completely normal, almost like any other day we had shared before. My father asked about my exams, my mother placed food onto my plate. My sister sat beside us quietly, head lowered, barely saying a single word. I thought she just wasn't feeling well and didn't question it any further. The next morning, when I tried to leave, the door wouldn't open from inside. I tried again, thinking maybe the lock was broken, but nothing changed at all. I called out, and my mother answered from outside, telling me to wait a moment. She unlocked the door from the outside, and that was when I understood something. The door wasn't broken, it had been locked from the outside the entire time. I asked her why, and she said calmly, "It's not very safe lately." She said it so naturally, like the decision had already been made long ago. After that day, they kept the key, and I never had access to it again. At first, I could still move around the house, watch television, and read books. But slowly, things disappeared. My phone, my computer, and eventually even the internet connection. Everything I could access was limited to whatever remained inside that single room. The windows were reinforced with metal bars, not completely sealed, but impossible to escape through. That's when I realized this wasn't about safety, even if they kept saying it was. I tried knocking, shouting, anything I could think of, but nothing ever worked. They would open the door sometimes, but only to come in and leave again. It felt like I was something stored away, not someone actually living there anymore. After some time, a doctor began visiting, always carrying a clean white case. The first time, he didn't ask my name or how I felt, not even once. He just looked at me briefly and started preparing his equipment without hesitation. My mother stood nearby and said softly, "Just match her levels, that's all." I didn't understand at first, but I didn't refuse what they asked me to do. Bag after bag filled slowly with dark red, rising steadily in transparent containers. I felt lightheaded watching it, but I didn't say anything out loud. My mother handed me water and told me gently, "It will be over soon." But it wasn't soon. It happened again and again, more times than I can count. The second time, it was bone marrow, and I finally asked why this was necessary. They told me, "Your sister needs it, so I looked at her and nodded. She sat on the couch watching television as if nothing unusual was happening at all. I truly believed then that this was something I was supposed to do. The operating room was cold, the lights bright, and no one spoke directly to me. My father asked the doctor, "What's the success rate?" Without even glancing at me, the doctor replied for the patient very high, and no one looked my way. Later, they took my kidney, and after that, my body began to decline rapidly. Standing made me dizzy, walking exhausted me, and my hair started falling out heavily. When I washed it, strands collected between my fingers, more each passing day. I looked into the mirror once and barely recognized the person staring back at me. My skin looked dull, my eyes empty, and for a moment, I thought it wasn't me. But their reaction was relief because my sister was getting better with each procedure. I still tried to believe they were just more worried about her than me. Until one night when I stayed awake and heard them talking outside my door. They thought I was asleep, so they didn't lower their voices at all. Almost full, one said, "Just a little more and we reach the target." At 100, we settle everything. Another voice added, 10 million total. I didn't understand what that meant, but I remembered every word they said. It felt like hearing something from a world that had nothing to do with me. After that, I started paying attention to the way they spoke to each other. Certain words kept repeating, like progress, affection, and final settlement. Slowly, I realized this wasn't just about saving someone's life anymore. It felt like they were completing some kind of system, and I was just a part of it. Later, my sister developed heart problems, and the doctor said she needed a larger donor. My father stood by my bed and said casually, "This one might be dangerous." He spoke like it was an ordinary discussion, nothing serious or personal at all. I looked at him and nodded, not even sure why I agreed again. Maybe I had gotten used to it, or maybe I forgot what refusing felt like. That was the last time I entered the operating room in my life. The hallway was long, lights stretching endlessly, and no one spoke to me. No one touched me, no one reassured me, not even once before the door closed. As the anesthesia spread, I wondered if anyone would remember me if I never woke up. But I did wake up, and things didn't end the way they expected. Back to today, at the press conference, they pushed me forward as the one who refused. Later, my mother pulled me aside and said quietly, "Don't make this harder." It sounded like persuasion, but also like a warning I was supposed to understand. I didn't argue, I just asked why they wouldn't sign themselves if it mattered so much. She looked at me for a long time, then turned her gaze away without answering. So I said one sentence out loud in front of everyone watching. "If you truly loved your child, you would sign your own consent forms." The room fell silent instantly, like the noise had been cut off mid-air. People started looking at them, cameras shifting direction away from me. My father's hand trembled visibly, and my mother's face changed completely. They had no way out, so they had no choice but to agree. That was when I knew everything had already changed beyond repair. But it still wasn't over, not even close to being finished. 3 days later, in the hospital, the air felt heavy with disinfectant. My father had just finished an examination and sat there looking extremely pale. He kept asking the doctor questions, as if waiting for some kind of confirmation. My mother stood beside him silently, saying nothing at all this time. I walked over and said only one thing, "This time, it's not me." She looked at me for a long time, like she was seeing me clearly for the first time. That expression was something I had never seen on her face before. For a moment, everything froze, and no one said a single word. You can probably guess what happened after that without me explaining further. They are still in the hospital now, and their condition is not very good. But they keep asking me why I won't continue, why I won't help her again. As if this was always something I was supposed to do without question. I don't know how to answer that anymore, no matter how much I think about it. Sometimes I wonder if things would be different if I had refused earlier, but I don't have an answer, and maybe I never will. So I'm asking you, if you were in my place, what would you do? Would you say I'm cold for choosing not to continue?